Alright, we're going to do the spark plugs now. And we'll show you under the tank. Those of you who want to do block off plates or along those lines, the California emissions. There's ways to do different kind of things with block off plates. So you don't have to spend 20 bucks. Maybe it's 20 bucks or whatever. Drop the lip. Okay. Alright, so let's make it tight. Always good when they're finger tight. Going to take the tank off completely instead of just lifting it. Should be washing on these, but it's not. There's still a tiny little bit of fuel out. Pull this hose off. Go crazy. Pull the pump line. Bring the hose off. 10 millimeter. Tank is off, set aside. Okay, airbox. Take the air temperature sensor, unplug that, set it aside. Okay, you don't have to take all these screws off to get the airbox out. You're not getting to the filter, unless you're doing a filter change. But this hose is off. There will be two breather hoses here. This one that goes to the crankcase. This one that goes to the little catch can underneath the bike. Pop those off. And then you're going to have, I believe, a 3 millimeter Allen that goes in there. Pop that off. Okay. 3 millimeter Allen T-handle. Get these bolts for the air box. You don't have to take them completely off, just loosen them. Airbox comes right off. Airbox up to the side. So right here, throttle bodies, of course. We want to get underneath this plastic to do the plugs. But let me show you something real quick. So at the bottom, this is for if you want to do block off plates, don't want to buy, you know, the plates and all that crap. So the airbox sits like this, right? Take the bottom of your airbox off. There's a hose right here that goes down along this side of the throttle bodies. It runs this way, comes into this plastic here, and we have plates on this bike, but there'll be a little box, sucker valve here. Now that valve, you can take it out and take this long piece of hose that went from here and cut it, and on top of where the block off plates are now, there's two little reed valves, they call it. Let's see if I have something for it. I don't think I have one laying around. But yeah, you can just bridge those two ports together with the piece of hose, get rid of that sucker valve, and this is the plug for it, which now that was flashed out of the ECU, it's no use to us anymore. And then just get a little vacuum hose, block off, put it on there, and call it a day. Other people will say, you know, take this breather hose and run a T-hose from there down to the crankcase. You don't really want to do that, especially at the fact that if you're going to get the bike tuned, you're still injecting air from the crankcase to your exhaust ports. So that basically does nothing for us. So if I have to tune this bike and you don't have block off plates and you did that T to the crankcase, I have to clamp that. I have to clamp that hose, which now is clamping the crankcase beater. So you leave this alone, that goes back to the airbox. You tee these off up here and just put a little plug on the airbox, the bottom of the airbox. And if you don't have the flash to flash out the code for this, you can put a piece of wire between these two, or a scotch lock between these two wires. It's better off to just flash it out. Alright, so we'll get into the plugs in a minute. And then if we're going to eliminate our California emissions box, which we already eliminated, it usually sits right here on the right side of the bike. And then two hoses come in, and right here there will be another set of hoses that go to the throttle bodies. I have vacuum plugs on each one because I took them off. You can see, I got a light. If you see those little nipples on the end of the throttle bodies, that's where the California emissions hoses are supposed to, you know, plug into for that charcoal canister. We got rid of that, and we ran the hose from that goes to the charcoal canister to the bottom of the tank. We just run that hose down to the left side of the bike where the other hoses go, and that's just acts as a breather for the tank. So getting to your spark plugs, I'm just going to show you one. They're virtually all the same to do. The coils are all the same, the plugs are the same. Just do one at a time in order or whatever. That way you don't mix up the plugs, the actual harness, so then you'll throw up your firing order. But basically you just twist and pull up, kind of get the boot right off the plug. That's your coil stick. And then we're going to have a, I believe it's a 5/8 spark plug socket. Just drop your 5/8 down in there. And then we'll just pop it loose. If you don't have a spark plug socket, a 5/8 deep deep socket will work. You'll just need a magnet to get it out. Alright, plugs are in, air box is on. When you put your air box on, make sure you plug back in your air temperature sensor and your hoses underneath. Tighten up the bolts through here, make sure those are tight. You don't want a vacuum leak or anything like that.